Here's a story told all over Europe. Manka and the judge. Once there were two peasants. One was well off and one was poor. And they were digging together in a field one day, and as they turned over the earth, they found a cup made of gold. "It's mine!" shouted one. "No, I saw it first," shouted the other. "No, it's mine! I pulled it out of the ground!" And they fought and fought until at last they agreed they needed to go before the judge and let him decide to whom it belonged. Now the judge in this village was young, and he hadn't had his post for very long, and he was puzzled by the case. So he decided to set the peasants a riddle, and if they could whoever could come up with the right answer within 3 days should have the cup. And the riddles were: what's the richest thing in the world? What's the heaviest thing in the world? What's the swiftest thing in the world? Well, the well-to-do peasant went home, told his wife what the judge had said to him, and the wife said, "Well, that's easy. The richest thing in the world's the king. The heaviest thing is iron. And the swiftest is surely our mare, because she outruns all the horses in the country, right?" Well, the poor peasant went home to his cottage, and there was no one there to greet him but his daughter Manka, for his wife had been dead for a while. For 2 days he worked on it. He puzzled over the riddles. He tried to do it, sighing, worrying, till at last Manka asked him what the matter was. "The judge has set me 3 riddles," he answered. "If I can answer them all by tomorrow, I would win the golden cup we found in the field. But for the life of me, I can't do it, Manka." "Well, what are the riddles?" said Manka. Her father repeated them to her. "Here," she said, "you go to the judge tomorrow, and you tell him that the richest thing is the earth, because she brings forth all that we need in this world, and that the heaviest thing is sorrow, which lies on mankind with greater weight than iron, and that the swiftest thing is the mind, for it can go anywhere, China, and be back again in a moment." So the next day the 2 peasants came before the judge, and he listened to their answers, and he gave the cup to the poor man. "Tell me," he said, "did you solve my riddles, by yourself, or did someone help you?" "Your Honor, I have a daughter named Manka. She is very wise for her years, and she told me what to say." "I should like to meet this Manka," said the judge. "Why don't you bring her to see me tomorrow?" When Manka and her father appeared in court the next day, they saw 2 brothers there who had come to settle a quarrel before the judge. Their father had left them a farm. Part of it was good, rich land, and part of it was barren, and they couldn't agree between them how they should divide it. Whichever one divided the property, the other one was dissatisfied. The judge tried to divide it. Both were dissatisfied. "Well, since you're so wise, Manka, why don't you tell me what I should do in this case?" "Very well," said Manka. "Let one brother divide the farm. Let the other one take first choice." And so it was done, and the men went away content. And the judge looked at Manka, and he saw that she was pretty as she was clever. "I think I should like to marry your daughter," he said to her father. Manka was willing, and so it was arranged. But when the judge's family heard of this, they protested. Manka was only a poor peasant girl, not good enough for him. So at last the judge sent word to Manka that he would marry her on a certain day, but only if she would come to him neither clothed nor naked, neither walking nor riding, and neither with a wedding gift nor without one. "Oh, Manka," cried her father when he heard this, "I fear you will never be wed." "Don't worry, Papa," said his daughter, "but go to the market, buy me a fishing net and a live pigeon." Her father shook his head, but he did as she told him. When he returned, Manka took off her clothes and wrapped herself in the net, so she was neither clothed nor naked. And then she saddled the old billy goat, mounted him, put the pigeon under her arm, and set off to court. Now as she went, of course, her feet were dragging on the ground, so could see that she was neither walking nor riding. The judge just laughed. He took Manka by the hand and said, "You've done as I asked, and now we shall be married. Only one thing you must promise me, Manka, that you will never interfere with my judgments at court." So Manka and the judge were wed, and for a time they lived together very happily. One day, however, two peasants came into court. They'd been hauling goods to market, and a mare belonging to one of them had lain down under the other's cart and had given birth to a foal. Well, of course, both men claimed the foal was theirs. The judge heard the case, and he decided in favor of the man who owned the cart, saying, "Where the beast was born, there let it remain." Well, the peasant who'd lost his case had heard that the judge's wife was both wise and kind-hearted, so he went to her and he told her the whole story. First, Manka didn't want to help him because of her promise, but he wept so hard that at last she said, "If you will swear not to give me away, I'll tell you what to do. Tomorrow morning, take a pail of water and a fishing rod, stand in the road where my husband will pass by, and then drop your line in as if you were fishing." And then she also told him what to say. And the next day, when the judge was on his way to court, he saw the peasant standing in the road. "What are you doing there?" he asked. "Fishing." "But you poor fool, you can't catch fish in a pail of water," said the judge. "Just as much chance of my catching fish in a pail as there is of a cart giving birth to a foal." The judge smiled, and then he frowned. "You're right. I was wrong. You may take back your foal. But first, you must tell me if it was yourself who thought of this answer." Well, for a while, the man tried to swear that, nobody'd helped him and he'd thought of it all by himself. But at last, he confessed that it was Manka who told him to say it. "I thought so," said the judge, and he went home and he was angry. "You have broken your promise, Manka. I cannot live with you any longer. You must go back to your father." "Very well. That is what you wish," said Manka. "I'll even go this evening after supper. Only give me leave to take with me whatever I love best in the house." "All right," said the judge. "Take whatever you want." Manka threw her arms around him and kissed him, and they sat down to supper. But as they ate, she slipped a sleeping potion into his glass, and he had hardly finished when he fell into a heavy sleep. As soon as he was snoring, Manka called the servants, and she told them to set him in the carriage and drive with her to her father's house. And there they put him into a bed. He slept all that night and part of the next day. And when he woke, he didn't even know where he was. He called for his servants, but there were no servants there. But instead, Manka came running in and said, "Love, you are at home with me in my father's cottage. You told me I might take with me whatever in your house I loved best. And I've done so." The judge laughed and said, "You are wiser than I am. Let's go home, and from this day forth we shall sit in court and give judgment together." And so it was done.